I'm doing pretty good.
All right, pretty awesome. So I watched your Whiplash, your stream with Whiplash. I think it was like midnight or something like that. But I think I watched it on mobile. At least parts of it. Um, you did C plus plus.
It was Java, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So I'm not remembering you. Okay, maybe. What was the question? Remind me. Maybe that will hit me.
It was with a table and had two servers approaching from both ends.
Yes, 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 yes. And you took the approach of coming in from the left side and the right side, and then kind of seeing if you're meeting in the middle, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember that. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your background? What's your current position? Um, and what do you think, kind of your weaknesses are? So we can kind of focus on these maybe. So yeah, just
Yeah,
give us 60
sure.
seconds about yourself.
All right. Well, I am currently attending UC Santa Cruz.
Okay.
As a junior, I spent 2 years in a local community college doing computer science. During those 2 years, I first started off in Java for the first year, and I went to C++ for the last year. And in Santa Cruz, I've read that they mainly are going to be using Java, so I'm trying to get back into it just to refresh my mind and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've taken a little bit of data structures, but never in Java, if that makes a difference, which I don't think it really does.
Yeah.
I think my weakness would probably be understanding the problem completely and then finding an efficient approach to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think that
how many interviews have you done so far, and what are kind of the questions that you normally get asked, if any? Was Whiplash
well,
your
this is
first interview?
actually yeah, this is my second interview.
Oh, okay, okay. So I actually wanna do a kind of you know so what I want to try and do is I want to try to de-stress, the interview by um, giving an easy problem,
Hmm.
um, and then based on how you do there, I want to go ahead and make it a little bit harder in the next one. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Um, so I'm gonna send you a code bank. All right. So this is the code bank, and you can jump in and change the language to Java.
Alrighty.
Um, okay. So the input for your program is going to be, well, the question title is valid phone numbers. Okay. Thank you for the follow.
Mhm.
And the input is essentially an array of strings. So you're gonna have a phone number like this, and you're gonna have a phone number like this, and you're gonna have a phone number like this.
And those are all possible ways I could get the numbers correct.
Yes. Well, you can get the numbers
Okay.
in any form. So you can get the number in this form as well, right? So like this.
Okay, I see.
Yes. So I'm sorry, I forgot to switch. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so the valid phone numbers, and this is the input again, and the output should be an array of only valid phone numbers. So array of only valid phone numbers. Okay?
Okay.
So what is a valid phone number? So
Um,
a valid phone number is this, and a valid phone number is also this. Okay?
mm.
The rest are not valid.
So the second one in the valid phone numbers you gave me is incorrect, right?
Yeah, the second one and the fourth one is incorrect.
Okay, I see.
Okay?
Mm.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, so I'm looking at this problem right now, and I'm thinking that for a valid phone number, it has to be 10 digits. And looking at the second example here, this is 10 digits. However, there is a space in between them. Um, and well, not necessarily 10 characters, 10 numerals. Am I receiving the arguments as a string, or how am I receiving the arguments?
This is how you're receiving the arguments. You're receiving the arguments as an array of strings that
An
might
array of
be,
strings.
yeah, might be numbers, might not be numbers, might be 10 characters long or 50 characters long.
Well, if I was given this problem, maybe like in a work environment, I'd probably just Google some regex expression that will get all the valid phone numbers for me.
Okay.
But
So if you want to Google like regex or something like that, just to get an idea of how to give a regex, that's fine with me. If you think that is the best solution to the problem, that's fine with me. But what I would also like you to do is explain the complexity of regex. But you can go ahead and Google if you want.
I do know that regex does take a while, for the complexity is pretty intense.
Okay.
So if we are worried about our time constraint, I might not do regex. I think I would honestly just go through the arguments of array given here, and look at each element. First, I would check if there are 10. Um, so I'm just gonna write out what I'm thinking here.
Okay.
So first, I would check uh, if there are 10 digits. And if there are 10 digits, I will move on into the following check. And if true, I want to check for the valid spacings. And the valid spacings would be such as the parentheses, or if there are correct, it's separated, every three numbers is separated by some form of character delimiter, and followed by the next three, and the last four are left alone. So the valid delimiters are only this dash and parentheses, correct?
Well, I think parentheses in a space, right?
Parentheses and space, that's correct.
Because
Okay.
this, if you think about it, and I'm gonna go ahead and hijack the code bunk for a second. So this isn't a valid phone number.
Correct. Yes.
And also this isn't a valid phone number as well, and this isn't a valid phone number as well.
Okay, so it looks like I will have to check at first if there is a parentheses, and if there is a parentheses present, I will check the next character and see if there's a space or not. If that is true, I check the next position here, and if this character is a space, then I just should return false on that.
Okay, let's go ahead. Remember what the output is.
Correct. A new array.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, since the output is an array, I should just make an array of strings. A string array, I'm gonna call this my answers. New string array. And And since I am going, I want to go through my entire arguments list. Oh, should I be doing this in main, or should I make a new method for it?
Whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to you? Alright. So I'm gonna assume my arguments is args for this case. So I want to loop through the entire, for every single element in my arguments list. So args.length I plus plus. Okay, and for every argument here, I want to check if it is valid. So the first thing I should be doing is checking the length, but then the length isn't guaranteed to be 10. Well, I guess the first case I could check is for these parentheses here. So I could say if my args dot character at 0. Okay. If the args, the element that I am currently inspecting, and the character at that position is equal to a parentheses, opening parentheses, I want to check the following characters. So, which would be position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to make sure there is a closing parentheses there.
Mm-hmm.
So I could simply combine that into one statement here. And args I dot the character at position, was it 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, position 4 is also a closing parentheses. I might just do an entire if statement for this one edge case here to make sure the valid phone number, because there's only two types of valid phone numbers here. This type and the one with dashes in between.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, well, the code won't look as pretty, but that is one way to make sure everything is the same. Oh, to make sure it is a valid number, not the same. I'm sorry. And current argument and the character at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a space. Position 5 is a space. And args I character at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is also a dash. I will put this into my array of the dynamic allocate this array. Do you want it as an array, or would you rather would it be possible for me to return as a list?
Well, first of all, you can print it. Just print the whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, that works fine.
Okay.
Print it. So that is for the first statement there.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a little breather here. And I want you to run through one example. Well, let's take two examples, okay? So I want you to run this through your program.
Well, for now, if I look at this element and I look at the very first character, that's this part here, and if it does not contain a parentheses, it does not print out the statement. It wouldn't print out the phone number.
Yep.
But for a valid phone number such as this one here,
no,
it's gonna check.
Don't skip. Yeah, don't skip. Go continue with your ifs.
Continue my ifs, okay, and then since this is also the and not or,
okay,
was it the fourth character? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
This character here should also be a closing parentheses.
Okay.
And then I'll also check the fifth statement. Oh, it's not long enough for it. A possible thing that I could run into here is in outer bounds
Yeah.
exception here.
What about if you get this?
Get what? I'm sorry.
Like an empty string.
An empty string. Yeah, that would definitely return out of bounds.
Okay. So what do you think about that?
So even before I begin the algorithm, I can just check if it's an empty string or not, right? So if the argument's length is less than 10. Well, would it be 10 though? Let's see here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14? So it's less than 14. No, well, the first edge case, if it's empty, right? I just skip over it. Don't do anything to it. Else, do this stuff here. That will get rid of the empty string. But then I should also make sure there are actually enough characters for it too.
Are you sure this gets rid of the empty string?
0 is less than 0. That would return 0. If it's actually equal to 0, I don't want that.
Okay. Yep. That looks better.
I'm thinking if I can actually also just check if the argument's length is actually long enough for it to fit to be an actual number, which I just counted was 14. There must be at least 14 characters in there. If it's not, then just skip on to the next element in the array.
Okay. Is it 14?
For the parentheses one, I assume so, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes.
Okay.
So this would check if I have the correct length, and if it's the correct length, and then go through it. I could run a quick example here of a phone number, a valid phone number.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So
let's do that. That's what I've been trying to get you to do. Just go through one example.
Mm-hmm. I'll take a look at this invalid phone number example. This one here. So at first I check the length here.
Just literally run it through your program.
Oh, actually run it. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of args.length, could I just... Is there standard input somewhere? I'm not sure what to put in standard input.
Well, you can get through. You can run like call your function something else, and then call your your function.
I guess I just pick a new function here.
Yeah, yeah.
Static valid num. I hope my indentation is actually correct this time around.
Okay.
This goes through it, else don't print anything. This looks good. So I'm just gonna call my function here, valid num, and I'm going to pass it, oh, no, this phone number. This should return false because there is a space right there. So I'm gonna run it now and see what happens. Figure out how to declare an array later of a string. Oh my. Ah, that's correct. Yes, because I thought I was passing in an array of strings. Um, I could just make an array of a string here. So a string of length 1.
Okay.
And I put in this phone number here. Oh, there we go. No. I don't want to call this answers. I'll call this input. Passing my input. String none. Well,
Well, your valid num accepts a string, and you're sending it an array of strings.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Valid num expects a string, but you're sending an array of strings.
Oh, correct. I'm sorry about that. String array called arguments. But it's
Yeah, but I think it's a syntax
there's
error
some
here.
other syntax error. Yeah. Oh my. 133. Am I not defining this array correct? Oh, after every, but it's only element 1. Why does it want a semicolon there?
Thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
Well, I think let's try it this way. So let's try string input equals to this. So now get the input here and then close it here.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, let's try it this way.
First I pulling select type character. I. If the arguments equal to that, and character 4 is equal to that, and character 5 is equal to white space. The last one is that printed out. What's going on here? Args length I is dot length is less than equal to symbol variable length class string. Correct. This is returning me a string, namely this here, and I'm getting the length of it. Is it? It's not a property in Java? Ooh. Oh, here it is again. Oh, no, that's correct. Variable length class string. I seem to have a lot of syntax errors.
Yeah, that's okay. Just work through them. Just work through them a bit.
The length of my array.
I think length is a method and not a property.
Yeah, that's what I've got here right here. I think that should fix everything. Bad operand types for the and. Did I type something wrong here? Huh.
You're staring at it.
Am I?
Yeah, it's literally it was highlighted up to a second ago.
Ew.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
I want to compare it, not set it equal to. And it looks like it returned out as a valid phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Which is why I told you run the program.
Right. So maybe. So first, my program is comparing the very first character here, and if that's true, return true. The fourth one is a 0, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one is indeed that. Then I check the fifth one. The fifth one is the fifth one a white space? No, it's not. And I check the ninth for 5, 6, 7, 8. It's skipping over this. Are my indices incorrect? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Well,
The zeroth
what I'm
index,
worried
the
about
fourth,
here is how the char at 5 is passing as like a space.
is space a special character? Do I have to escape that, possibly?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. The fifth one should not have passed, but it is passing.
Put something else there, like 55 or 6. I don't know. Like
Sorry, where?
something that doesn't pass. So do if the char at 5 is U.
It still passes, so it's not.
So literally, you can do this.
Oh, I think it's because I have a semicolon right here.
Okay. Okay, this looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go back to the previous one.
Changing everything to use.
No, which is this. The correct one. So let's go
Okay.
back to the correct one. And
And
run
if
this. And what do we get?
For this case, nothing.
We get
Because this is an invalid string.
Great. So we get an invalid one. Okay. So now let's pass a valid one with it.
Oh, simply delete that. Put a space here. Well, this should be valid, yeah.
Great.
Yes, but I also now have to
Yep.
figure out this case here for the second case.
Yep.
So this is for the first case. First case. The second case here
So
is
here, you know what? Before we move on to the second case, I want you to check this. So what do you think will happen here?
well, that will actually pass since I'm only checking if it's greater than 14. I want to be equal exactly to 14 for it to be valid.
Okay.
So that returns it as a valid. You have to be greater than or equal to 0, do nothing. Or one of these has to be true. If the length is greater than or equal to 0, greater than or equal to 0. Well, if the length is equal to 0, or if it's equal to, or if it's less than 14, or great, it can be greater than 14 too.
So I want you to take a breath for a second, because I think you wrote a lot of code and you are not quite looking at it from the bird's eye view. So I want you to look at this here. So you say, hey, if the args is this and the args is that, otherwise do something else. So what you're seeing here is a phone number that is clearly um,
longer
longer
than
than
14.
14 and clearly is not 0. But then what happens here? And then what happens here?
Oh,
So what is the relationship between all of these come together?
well,
So what
if
the question is, would you say that having and kind of an exit early strategy rather than um, rather than an if and an else would be better here? So literally, hey, if it's not this, then do next. If it's not this, then do next. Don't you think that would be better for handling this kind of thing rather than doing what you do here?
well, is that not what I'm doing here? I'm checking if the length is correct. If the length is correct, do nothing. If the length is correct, then I actually check the correct characters,
Okay,
and if the characters are in the correct
so how
position.
many characters do we have here? So let's count it together, okay? So 333, that's 3. 4,
Yes.
7, 8, right?
Yeah.
And then 12, correct?
Right. Yes.
So that would be the case of another valid phone number, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The second case.
Yep. Okay. So let's
So,
continue debugging. I'm with you.
so would you rather what you were saying earlier about an exit early strategy? The first case here should take care of everything regarding length.
Well, what I'm saying is the way I would program it would be to check one thing, and then if that one thing is true, then literally do continue on the loop. So I don't even go through the other part of the logic instead of having an if and an else. But that's the way I would do it.
I see. And okay, so to continue debugging here, if the length is 0 or the length is greater than less than 14, or do nothing, else I do all the checking. Uh,
Is it else
less
or is it an
greater.
else if?
It's else if this.
Okay.
Else check it and print it. Well, yeah, because if I check the length here and the length doesn't match, I don't want to bother with checking the actual characters.
Okay.
Right now, the issue here is my length. Both the length. No, well, if the length can't be equal to 0 and less than 14 at the same time. Oh, I mean, it can, but only one of these conditions need to pass for it to not even check the characters.
Okay. We're talking a lot, but we're still not finding the problem.
Yeah, I'm still going through my brain, raking my brain about this right now.
All right. Take a minute.
If the 0, the length is 14. Oh, I should just say if the length is not equal to 14, don't even bother checking it. If the length does not equal 14, don't bother checking it. So, where's it? Yeah, so this now returns an invalid phone number here.
Okay.
And for the second case here,
Now put a valid phone number here.
a valid phone number.
Yeah. So a
Yeah,
valid phone number is returns, right?
right.
Okay.
So now I can check the second case here, following the same format, if the current element's length is not equal to, I think it was 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not equal to 12. If the it's not equal to 12, don't bother with the checking. Else, if every third and fourth, so the 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 6, 3 and 6 has to be the dash. If
I think you need to
current,
look at it again.
look at it again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh,
6.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
3.
It was my mistake. It's a zero index. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Uh, xi, the character at index 3, and the current element's character at index 7. Just check that one more time. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 0 and 7. These things have to be equal to the dash. If these are true, I want to print out the statement. Fine. Current element. And I'll just check both statements here at once. Valid phone number here, which in this case would be this first one here, should return as a valid phone number. Both of them do return as valid phone numbers.
Awesome.
I can do a check for an invalid phone number, which would, if I put a space here, this should return the second one. Okay, so now I think my algorithm works correctly, except the question was asking to the output is an array of valid phone numbers. So I can
Well, that's okay. That's
simply,
okay. Doesn't
okay,
we can change it to print out the valid phone numbers. I don't think the printing out of an array of printing out adds even 0%, 0.1% of complexity, so it doesn't really matter to me. What I do want is to check this. Okay, so let's do 333, 333, and 3333. Right. So this is a valid phone number.
yes.
Okay. Is this a valid phone number?
No, it is not.
Okay. Let's go ahead and run your code.
But it will output as a valid since I'm not checking any other numbers beforehand.
Okay. And what about this one? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yes, that would also return as a valid phone number.
Okay. So what do you think we should do in order to protect against this?
I could first run through the entire phone number and make sure the only characters, there has to be at least 10 numerical numbers.
Okay.
Because I know in C++ there is an isDigit function. I'm not sure if there is the same in Java though.
Yeah, you can go ahead and Google that. Check if string is digit.
Yeah, there is an isDigit method. So I could do that, but the time complexity does get pretty intense in that case.
Sorry?
The looping through the entire array seems, there is, I'm trying to think if there's another efficient way of doing it.
Okay.
I think the way that I'm thinking of right now, just looping through the entire string makes the most sense to me. So
So
If
because we're
well,
we're 40 minutes into it. I know time flies, right?
yeah.
But because we're 40 minutes into it, let's go ahead and not code it, but explain to me how would you solve it.
Yeah, so I would loop through the entire phone number,
Okay.
the phone number, and I would check each character, and I would also have a count, correct? A digit count.
Mm-hmm.
Check each character, and if it is digit, I increment my count, and at the end of the loop, I want to check if the count is equal to 10 digits, then it is a valid enough phone number, and I can continue checking.
And do you think we can hack that?
Yeah, I could do it right after I do the check here.
Okay, so you want to do loop through the array of characters after that one. Okay, I get it. Great.
Oh yeah, not inside. No, yeah.
Great. Okay. Because then I said, well, we can pretty much hack that immediately. Okay, great. Okay, so this is our time for today. We went through 40-ish minutes. So how did you think it went?
I think it went horribly.
Okay, why?
uh, this problem here, it really is not that difficult, and I feel as I want to blame the language, but I don't think that's the issue here.
I think it's fair.
I mean, at first I was struggling with the syntax. There was a whole bunch of syntax errors. I was struggling trying to create a new array to pass through my. I felt like I had the algorithm down to a certain extent, but other than that, everything I don't think really went really well.
Okay. What do you think did go well?
I felt like I was very active in talking and making sure there were any pauses in my thoughts so you could continue to see where I was thinking or where my brain was at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um,
Anything else?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. So I want to give you my feedback. First of all, I don't think it went horrible at all. Um, I do think it didn't go amazing. Um, but here's where I think your problem is. And seriously, I'm not even gonna address the problem at hand and talk about the problem because I think your problem specifically is beyond this problem or Java. Okay.
Mhm.
And that problem is that you're very communicative, very communicative. I like that, but sometimes it feels like you're replacing words with thought, and those
Mhm.
should come in sync. If they're not in sync, then you should say, "Let me pause for a second and think about this," because if you can't talk and think at the same time, then talking is counterproductive. So talking is only productive if you can talk and think and solve at the same time, and not together.
No,
Um,
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
because sometimes I feel like you're talking to me and you're talking to me, but I am sensing that it's not clicking through.
What
And
do you mean looking through?
what I'm saying is it feels like you're talking, but you're not 100% understanding the words that come out of your mouth.
Okay, I see.
You know what I mean? And it's not about not understanding the problem. It's just about there is some disconnect between the way you communicate and then the way you think. Um, I don't know exactly where to put my finger, but what I'm saying is I think that if in your next interview you will say, "Let me think about that for a second here," and pause for literally 30 seconds, you will be better off than trying to just talk my ear off.
I see.
And so your communication part is really on point. But
It's
I
a
just,
little too much.
yeah, well, it's not too much if it was productive for you as well. So it was very productive for me, but it wasn't as productive for you. And if that's not as productive for you, then it doesn't really matter how much productive it is to me. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was giving you an out. I was giving you an out, and I was giving you an out, and I was giving you an out, and I was throwing you ropes and throwing you ropes, and because you're talking, then you're not listening, and it's not clicking what I'm trying to say. It's not like hitting you on the head and like, wait a second, maybe he's right. You know, so there was a moment there in the interview where people in the chat were like, oh my god, we're like almost like thought you were rude because I was giving you a suggestion and you basically blew me off. You're like, who's that idiot? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I definitely know you did not mean it, and I definitely did not took it to heart. But it's like, listen for a second. You know what I mean? So I'm giving you an out here. Maybe simplifying the problem for you. Maybe I'm giving you a suggestion. So that would be my best advice. That if talking is counterproductive, pause for a second and say, let me think about that. You can draw in the meantime. You can do whatever kind of helps you to think, and that's fine. And that, I think that will help you also breathe. Because sometimes your breathing is gonna, you're almost hyperventilating, and that also kind of contributes to your brain thinking that you're in stress. So that would be my advice. I definitely did not think it went horrible. I think you had it in terms of like solving the problem. In terms of the solution itself, some edge cases and stuff like that, but nothing that is not coachable. And bypassable, as I always say, with a little bit of exercise. The part that is going to be hard for you to fix if you don't pay attention is the talking part. And I feel that's where I should have put my foot down, so to speak, and give you a suggestion there.
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you so much for that.
Of course, no problem at all. Any questions for me?
No, I think what you gave me, I definitely need to work on my talking issues.
Yeah, yeah. Again, so you know what I'm saying. It sounds like it was super bad. What I'm saying, it wasn't super bad. It's just literally 2 or 3 times that you could have taken 20 seconds, breathe, understand, and then continue talking. And sometimes those like accumulate 40 seconds across 40 minutes, just gave you that feeling that you didn't do well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this chance to help me out.
Oh, of
I really
course.
appreciate it.
Of course. No problem at all. My pleasure. It's great having you. And we're kind of neighbors from Santa Cruz. Well, I'm not from Santa Cruz, but I live in San Jose, so that's close by.
Ah, okay, I see.
All right. So
All right.
thank you for doing that, and keep challenging yourself. I would love to have you again here, definitely.
All right, cool. I'd love to be on again. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Good night.
Good night.